Well, hello and welcome to another episode of Wirecast Live. I'm your host, Leslie Samuel. I'm very excited about today's topic. We're going to be going into some live video case studies, what's working and what isn't. We're going to analyze them. You're going to be here. We're going to engage with each other, and we're going to leave with a better understanding of how we can take live streaming, how we can use live streaming to further our mission, to grow our business, to impact and engage with our audience. So let's do it. Well, hello again. Leslie Samuel here. I am excited to be here with you today. We're going to be looking at some live video case studies. I want to welcome those of you that are on here live. Yes, I am not Andrew today. Andrew is not going to be here with us today. He will be back with you next week. And I'm running the show today. And I'm so glad that you guys are here with me. I see we have Rafiq in the chat. We have Deb on here as well. We have Renzo. And I am excited that you guys are all here with me. So what we're going to be doing today is looking at some live video case studies. But I want to also remind you how you can subscribe, follow, and so on. If you are interested in being updated whenever we do a Wirecast Live in the future, you can make sure to follow us on Facebook, Periscope, YouTube, everywhere. You can see it on your screen on social media. Telescreen Wirecast on Facebook, Wirecast on Twitter, and Wirecast Tube on YouTube. If you are joining me on here live, feel free to let me know where you are joining in from. I would love to interact with you on here. I see we have Rafiq that is joining us all the way in Dubai. And we are very excited that you are here. One of the first persons on here this afternoon. And we're going to be looking at some live video case studies. Also, I want to let you know that if you want to be notified by email whenever we go live, you can go to telestream.net/WirecastLive. That's telestream.net/WirecastLive. A great way to keep in touch is email. And we want to make sure that you are on that list to be notified of all of our new things that are coming out. Talking about news and what's coming out next week, Andrew will be back, as I mentioned a little earlier, and the show title will be, are you ready for this? This is exciting stuff right here. Next week's title will be Introducing Wirecast 8 New Features. Wirecast 8 is just around the corner, and I don't know about you, but I am super excited about Wirecast 8 because there's some features that are coming that I've been waiting for. Feature number 1 is Wirecast Rendezvous, and that is the thing that has me most excited. We have a number of other features coming as well, but Wirecast Rendezvous will allow me to bring on guests to my show, you to bring on guests to your show from within Wirecast. Maybe I said too much. Maybe I shouldn't have said that much. I don't know, but I'm telling you anyhow. Other features, the new preview editor. We have clocks and timers. We have multi-track audio and much more. I am super excited about Wirecast 8, and I can't wait for it to come out. I can't wait to use some of these really cool new features. All right, so that's next week. We're not going next week yet. We're going to start with this week because this week, what we're going to be doing is looking at some case studies of what different people, companies, businesses are doing with live video. And we're going to kind of dissect some of the things that they're doing. And the goal here, my goal here is for us to be able to look at what other people are doing and start, thinking about how can I apply some of these things to what I'm doing. So whether you're a blogger, whether you are a social media manager at a company, or whether you are an entrepreneur or whatever the case might be, and you are interested or you're already using live video, you're using Wirecast, you're using all of these different platforms, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Periscope, wherever you are streaming live, what can we learn from what others are doing, and how can we apply that to our business? So I see we have Rafiq said it's 1:30 a.m. and it's 1:30 a.m. and you are joining us. We are so excited. Matza Kistner said guten Abend to you as well. So I'm assuming that you're somewhere in Germany or someplace along those lines. But let's jump into today's topic. And if you have questions, feel free to hit them in the chat, and we're going to engage with each other and look at some of these case studies. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen in a second because what we're going to do, I have some examples of people and companies, individuals, a lot of individuals actually, that are using live video in their businesses. And we're going to dissect some of the things that they're doing and what they're doing well and what we can learn from it. And the first example, let me go ahead and share my screen now. And the first example, as you will see in a second, is the Body Coach. So this is a Facebook page, and you can see this Facebook page has a ton of likes and followers, 2.7 million likes. So it's a pretty large Facebook page that has a very engaged audience. And you have the Body Coach here. His name is Joe Wicks, and he is the Body Coach, and he does live videos on a regular basis. So if you look at the screen, the middle example, so the first one is just showing you how big the community is. But let's look at the middle screenshot. And what you will see in the middle and also the third is that he does these live fitness weeks and live boot camp. So here you can see in the summer, he had a live summer fitness week. He also did a live January boot camp 2017. And during those periods of time, on a daily basis, and actually sometimes multiple times a day, he would go live and do specific things. It could be a workout, because obviously he's the Body Coach. So a big part of what he does is exercise and also nutrition. But he goes live, and you can see here in the middle example at the top, there's live workout with Joe. And then right below that, how to prep like a boss and get lean with Joe. And then you have a 15-minute live abs workout with Joe. And for that week, that fitness week, every day, he went live at least once a day and had a very engaged audience. You can see here we have 142,000 views on the first, 239,000 on the second, and 465,000 views on the third. And then back here in January, they had the boot camp. Now, let's look at some examples of some of the videos that he does. And I love how he does it. I want you to notice something. It's actually, he does a very simple setup. He has one webcam, and with that webcam, he does everything. There's not multiple angles or anything of that sort. So the first example you see here, he's showing you how to make a meal. He's actually showing you how to make 2 meals, 2 days worth of meals. So breakfast, lunch, and dinner in 30 minutes. And what he's doing there is he's holding up his phone to show you that he's setting a timer for 30 minutes. And by the end of 30 minutes, you will have all of your meals for the next day prepared. And his audience are very much into it. He brings them along. He shows them all of the items that he's using. So there's live demonstration. He's very interactive and engaging. He gives them some shout outs, and there's laughter. There's everything. And I just love the way he's doing it. Now, if you look over here to the right and these 2 examples, it's the same video. But what he's doing is a 30-minute workout. And he actually goes through the entire workout with his audience. And they're there with him. I remember there was one part of it where coming down to the end of the workout, someone commented that they feel so exhausted and almost nauseous. And he said, you know what? Yes, that happens from time to time. He has someone behind the camera and they are telling him, some of the comments, and he is interacting with them while he's showing them the workout and engaging his audience. So when I look at this, I see a few things. I see someone that is not overcomplicating things. They don't have multiple camera angles, which, that can be great. And we'll see some examples of people that are doing just that and companies that are doing just that on a more professional level. But he's just with his one webcam or in some of the examples, just the phone. And he is just pouring into his audience high value content. That to me is very engaging, and his audience absolutely loves it. So as you are thinking about things that you can do with your audience and live video, how can you keep it simple? How can you show them how to do certain things? How can you teach them how to, like in this case, he's teaching them how to prepare a bunch of meals in 30 minutes, or he's working out with them. How can you bring them along with you, show them how to do things and have them do it with you and feel as if they're a part of this experience? Back in the days, for someone to do this with such a huge audience, they'd have to be on TV and they'd have to have a significant investment in equipment and marketing and all kinds of red tape. But no, we can do this directly from our computers. Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. So this is example number 1, showing us that it doesn't have to be complicated, showing us that you could take your audience along on a journey, showing us that if you have that back and forth interaction and engagement, it can be something that really helps to strengthen your community. So what can you do? Now, what I would also like for you to do as I'm going through these case studies, if there are tips that you are getting from these case studies by looking at the comments, by looking at what they're doing, go ahead and share them with us in the comments so that we can see maybe some lessons that I missed from looking at these case studies. All right, so that is case study number 1. Now, let's move on to case study number 2. Now, this is actually a former client of mine that runs a website called Adore Your Wardrobe. Now, there are a few things that I want to point out specifically from this example. The first thing that I want to point out is the size of her, the size of her audience, specifically on this Facebook page, because she does have multiple Facebook pages. But on this Facebook page, her community size, 2,303 likes, about 2,500 follows. So it's not a huge audience. Before the previous example, we were looking at someone that had millions of followers, and this is a significantly smaller page. But I want to point something out, like on the second screenshot that you're seeing there, her videos are getting a decent number of views for such a relatively small page. You can see here the first one 3,000, and then 6,500 and 2,700, 2,400, 3,100. And what she does in this example, what she was doing was going live on a daily basis and taking her audience along on a challenge. So there was a challenge that she had for her audience where they could sign up via email and be a part of this challenge to kind of go through and analyze their wardrobe and then come up with a plan for what they can do to go from a wardrobe that they love to a wardrobe that they hate. Now, this is what her audience is very much into. That's the name of her brand, Adore Your Wardrobe. And she goes live, or she went live once a day. And in this example, it was for about 14 days. And she took her audience through specific step. Each day, there was a new step. And she would kind of give them a foundation about what information do they have to know? And then beyond that, what do they have to do? And by doing that, she had so much engagement on those live videos. You can see in this example here to the right, she's asking them to share her page and then leaving a link on the live video to where they shared it so that she can go and check it out and engage with them in that way. And they were doing it like crazy. So she had an engaged audience. She took them on a very specific journey. That specific journey lasted a specific amount of time. So it was 14 days. It was a 14-day challenge in this particular example. And what was cool about this was after the 14-day challenge, it led to the launching of her course. And she got a significant amount of those people to actually sign up for her paid course. So how can you do that with your business, with your brand, with your blog, with what you are doing online? How can you issue a challenge to your audience, whether it's a 5-day challenge or a 14-day challenge or whatever the case may be, and bring them to that challenge and bring them along with you on that challenge with the ultimate purpose of once the challenge is over, taking them on to a paid course or a paid product or a paid service or anything along those lines. This is what she was able to do. And it was very effective, not just for the engagement, but also for the sales of her products. And that is awesome. That is great. If you have an online business, you want people to buy your products. And this is a really cool way of kind of bringing them on a journey, giving them a challenge, getting them super engaged. And by the time they are finished being with this process, now they are ready to kind of take it to the next level with your product, your service, or whatever. That's kind of an extension of what you just walked them through with a challenge. All right, so that is case study number 2. Now, let's move on to case study number 3, because this is one that I enjoy. I've been following this guy for a while. I don't even know how long. First on Periscope and then on Snapchat, and now he does stuff on Facebook Live. And his name, he is none other than Chocolate Johnny. Now, Chocolate Johnny is a very interesting character. Chocolate Johnny owns a chocolate factory or store, or whatever you want to call it, over in Sydney, Australia. And Chocolate Johnny is a character. He is a very entertaining guy, and he does a bunch of live streams. Now, as a result of him doing a bunch of engaging live streams, he's actually known worldwide for his chocolate. And he goes all over the world to talk about also social media and how he uses live streaming and Snapchat and these different platforms to bring awareness to his company. So the question is, are you a small business owner? How can you use live streaming to bring awareness to your company, to your brand, to your business, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? Now, what's interesting about Chocolate Johnny is that his live streams, it might seem like it's all over the place. And to a certain extent, it is. There are some that are very contextual to his specific business. For example, you can see over here, at the bottom left, he is showing you how to make a specific type of chocolate, making caramel chocolate, salty almond turtles, Perfection Chocolates. Perfection Chocolates is the name of his company. And he's actually showing you behind the scenes. He's taking you on that journey so that you can see how they are doing it. And you know, I don't know about you, but when I watch that, just by looking at that screenshot, it makes my mouth water a little bit, and I really want some chocolate right now. And you can see there's a lot of engagement on here. So at the bottom left, we're still looking at that, and there's a lot of engagement there concerning this chocolate, because everybody's on here and they're saying, "Looks so amazing," and all genuine produce and for real. And he's in Sydney somewhere. And there's a whole lot of engagement that is happening right there. And I think that is so fascinating. All right. So not only is he showing you some behind the scenes stuff, but he's also at the top right, you see the same thing. He's making chocolate salty almond turtles. At the bottom right, what's fascinating about what he does is that he doesn't just show you about the chocolate. He shows you a little bit about his location. So here, this is actually a drone footage where he is streaming live, showing you Bondi Beach in Sydney, Australia. All right, that's not directly related to it's not directly related to chocolates or what he does in his business, but it's a way of engaging with his audience and showing them some of the stuff that's happening right over there. Just want to point out, we have a number of people here in the chat. I didn't shout out anyone from YouTube as yet, but we have Jerry from Santa Cruz. We have Food, Clothing, and Shelter talking about Wirecast. We have David Panciano. He can't wait for next week's show and the Wirecast 8 release and all that good stuff. We have a lot of engagement happening on there. And if you're joining us, feel free to let us know where you're joining from. We have Katian joining on Facebook as well. Very excited. Okay, so at the top here, the top right kind of in the middle, you will see now another example of something that he does where he is actually just having, I think he called it chocolate and chats. Chocolate and chat or something of that sort, where he's just he's eating some chocolate and he's talking about a specific topic, and the topic may be related to chocolates, it may not be related to chocolate, and it's just another way of him engaging his community. Now, this is how effective this is, because I live in Michigan, and one of the things that I do from time to time is I travel to speak. And this summer, I traveled to Sydney, Australia to do a talk about blogging and social media. And one of the things, like the person that was hosting me asked me, what do you want to do when you're here? I said, I want to give my talk and I want to go and see Chocolate Johnny. Those were the two things that I wanted to do when I went to Sydney, Australia. And as a result, you can see in this picture here, I went to Perfection Chocolates. We hung out for a little while and he gave me some chocolate and we just had a good time. And he posted this on Periscope. I mean, he posted this on Snapchat. He said number 74 from Periscope. In other words, I was the 74th person that saw him on Periscope that ended up coming to where he was in Sydney, Australia, to see what's going on there, to taste some of that chocolate that we see, that we keep seeing on social media on his live streams. And I see Mike is saying, this is great, Leslie. My cousins own a chocolate store in Connecticut. I'm going to suggest they do this. That's exactly it. How can you take your audience, your potential customers behind the scenes, show them some of the things that's going on? If you're making chocolate, why not show how the chocolate is made? If you are, I see here Food, Clothing, and Shelter. I'm not sure what that company does, but maybe they make clothing or they sell clothing. How can you show them what's going on in the company behind the scenes? Take them on that journey, engage with them. And as a result of that, now they want to come and visit your establishment. All right, so let's move on to another example, because this one is making me hungry. So we need to move on. Live Streaming Pros. Now, you may already be familiar with Live Streaming Pros, or you may not be familiar with Live Streaming Pros. If you're not, I would recommend for you to check them out. I know Luria has been on Wirecast before, and they do some really great things over there. But there's something in particular that I want to point out. Look at the list of video. Just look at the thumbnails actually of the videos that we see here. Now they do a once daily show, and what I want to point out here, you can see they were live at the time when I was recording this and talking about what goes into a custom live streaming computer. But I want to also point out that they do interviews. She does a show where it's just her talking. Sometimes it's her and David. Sometimes they like here she's at Podcast Movement. Last week she was at Podcast Movement speaking. And here you can see she just has her phone out and she's talking and she's engaging with people. And here you can see once again they have a show where she is not interviewing someone, but she's talking specifically about one topic, not getting live viewers and engagement. Then she's showing you some ways that you can fix that and start to get the live viewers or engagement. So what I want to point out here is the diversity of the style of content that she creates. You have the professional ones with the multi-camera where she's doing a show where she's talking about either the news that's going on or how to do something related to live streaming. She has those where she's interviewing people and she's bringing them in either via Skype or some other way of bringing them in. And then there's some of the more informal ones where it's just her and her webcam walking around talking directly to the camera. I think that approach, having that diverse approach of not just one format, but multiple formats to appeal to different types of audiences is a very, very powerful approach. And it's something that I would encourage you to consider. So everything doesn't have to be professional. Everything doesn't have to be laid back. If you're someone that's more laid back, you know, we spoke about Chocolate Johnny over here, and Chocolate Johnny, he never uses multiple cameras and a professional production. He literally just pulls out his phone, and it's all about his personality and sharing his experience with you and bringing you along on that experience. Now, in this case, she does that, but she also does the professional. And she also does the interviews and she mixes it up, which keeps it very engaging. All right, let's move on to the next example. This next example is a strategy that a friend of mine uses that I think is a very powerful strategy. And we spoke about it a little bit last week. And I wanted to show it to you because I think it can, it is such a powerful strategy. It's my friend Aaron Chase from $5dinners.com. Now, $5dinners.com is a place where you can learn to do quick recipes for $5. Okay, so very inexpensively, you can create meals, and it's something that has a pretty decent sized audience. You can see she has over 395,000 likes on her page. And you can see some of the examples of the things that she does here. So, for example, she's down in Texas. So before the hurricane, she did hurricane prep, moving freezer meals to the fridge freezer, from the fridge freezer to whatever comes after that. That was very timely. It is something that her audience was thinking about, and she is showing them how to do that particular thing. Okay, then you see here, Dinner Made Easy. She does a show called the Dinner Made Easy Show, and basically she shows you how to make a specific meal. So in this case, it was spinach lasagna skillet, and then she has a number of other things. Now, here is the exciting part of what she does, and when she showed this to me, my mind was blown. So everyone is going back. Well, students are starting to go back to school. Most of them have started already in the US. So she did a back to school special. And this is what we're seeing here. Right here, she's showing you how to cook a meal. But she says, I have these printables that is going to go through all of the stuff that I am going to be showing you here today. And she shows them these printables. And then she lets them know that they can get these back to school printables for free. And all they have to do is type BTS in the comments. And when they type BTS in the comments, they're going to get access to these. Now, I'm noticing that I'm missing the other part of the screenshots. But what happened, of course, if I'm on there and I hear her saying BTS, just like hundreds of other people, and you can see some of them doing it right here, hundreds of people, if not thousands of people, because she had 31,000 views on this particular video. And when I was scrolling through, I said I'm going to go and try to count how many BTSs I saw. But it was so many that I just said, okay, I'm not even going to try to count, but I'm just going to assume that there are hundreds, because I know I saw hundreds without even looking through all of them. Okay. And what happens was, as soon as you type BTS, you actually get a message from her, a message that pops up, basically a bot that pops up in Facebook Messenger, letting them know that, hey, if they're interested in it, just type, I forgot what the word is she told them to type, but they type that word. And when they do that, she gives them a link to go and download these printables. Now, what was fascinating about that to me is that in order to download the printables, they actually had to enter their name and email address. So she was growing her email list. Now, normally we go live, and when we go live, we try to, convince people, hey, go and check out this page and get some printables or get some download or some resource, because we know how valuable it is to grow our email list. But here she made it so easy. And the way she was able to do that is using a service called ManyChat, ManyChat. And what that allows is for you to create bots that will do things automatically. And that's exactly how she did it. And by doing this one live broadcast, she added hundreds, if not thousands of emails to her email list. And what you can do here is, if you do this and you see that it's working, then you can start putting ad revenue behind that so that you can increase the reach significantly and get even more signups to your email list. So I saw her doing this and I was very fascinated by it. And it's something that I want to try out with my live stream. And I'm going to be trying it out over the next few weeks because it just makes perfect sense. Not only do you get people to engage with your messenger bot, but you also get to grow your email list. And for me, that is extremely powerful. All right, let's look at another example. This one is now from a big company, NASDAQ, the American Stock Exchange. They provide financial services and stock quotes analysis and all that kind of stuff. And I went to check out what they were doing because I asked in one of my social media manager Facebook groups, are there any examples of companies that you know of that are doing very well with live streaming? And the example that one of my friends recommended was NASDAQ. So I went to check out their page and I was actually quite fascinated with what they're doing because they actually do multiple live streams on a daily basis. And the live streams that they do aren't all financial related, stock related or anything of that sort. It's not all market news. Yes, they do that. But then they do some other stuff. So, for example, over here, they have this show called Social Media Geek Out. And in this particular episode, they were talking about paws, claws, and politics. So they had some guests on and they were looking at animals on social media and some of the things that were trending in social media related to politics and all of these things related to social media. They do some stuff on technology. Here you see they had Fox Sports and the Big Ten conference ring the opening bell. This was the opening day for college football. So they had Fox Sports come in. And this is more of the professional production. They have multiple cameras. They have the lower thirds. They have the different hosts of different shows and so on. But what it basically does is provide for all types of engagement. And it puts a lot of engagement on their Facebook page, keeping people aware of their brand and keeping NASDAQ top of mind for the people that are following the page. So how can you do that? If you're doing it on a more professional level or whatever the case might be, it doesn't always have to be directly related to the topic, but if it's things that your audience will be interested in, how can you show different sides of your company? And how can you engage your audience in that way? All right, I wanna look at one more example, and this one just I guess luckily it happened today. This is something that I did today, and I wanted to share with you because it illustrates something that I think can be very powerful. 5 hours ago, I was on the phone with a scammer. Now you're thinking, wait, what are you talking about, right? So I got a call. I've been getting messages from these scammers who are basically trying to scam you by letting you know that, by telling you that the IRS is basically looking for you. And in order to not go to jail, you have to pay them X amount of dollars. And for me today, that amount was $4,000 something that I had to pay in back taxes, or else they would report me. And they have a warrant for my arrest that they would let go through, and they would do all these kinds of things that would have a very, very negative impact on my life. So what I decided to do was go live and share this with the people that are connected with me on Facebook. Now, this is something that got a significant amount of traction. You can see it was 5 hours ago, and we're about 3,500 views. But why it got traction was because it's dealing with something that a lot of people are facing. I can't tell you how many people commented on that post, and there are hundreds of comments. But there's so many people that commented on this saying, "I just got a call from someone just like that. I've been getting calls from these people all week. Thank you so much for doing this and exposing this kind of stuff." And what was powerful about it was people started sharing it like crazy. You can see it has 73 shares, and I guarantee you it has significantly more shares now. But this was not necessarily directly related to my business. But can you imagine? Let's say I was a tax advisor or something of that sort, and I'm starting to get these calls. This was kind of like a spontaneous thing that I decided to do that got a lot of engagement. And if I were in that business and I could shine the light on some of these things and do some of these spontaneous things that maybe are not planned, that can bring a significant amount of engagement in a relatively short period of time, and you become the person that is informing them about these kinds of incidents. Why not use that if you're a financial person or a tax person and engage your audience in that way? Because this is the kind of stuff that people are gonna share over and over because they don't want their friends to fall for those kind of traps. So this was more of a spontaneous thing that happened, but I took advantage of that moment, not just to have a video with a lot of views, but to educate people about the fact that this is not right, but this is something that does happen and they need to pay attention to it. All right, so those are the case studies for today. I'm going to go ahead and switch back to my webcam and bring this back together. Let's do this really quick. All right, there we go. So those are some of the things I wanted to share with you by looking at these case studies, and a few tips I want to pull out from all of this as we bring this together. Tip number one, it doesn't always have to be super professional to be effective. My friend Chocolate Johnny and so many other examples. There's so many other examples of people that are just creating content simply by pulling out their phones at random occasions, or doing that strategically on a regular basis. So you don't always have to be to create this huge professional production. So that's tip number one. Number two, you can mix it up. You can mix it up with some of the professional and some of the not so professional. If you have a Wirecast, that is a great tool that will allow you to do some of the very professional things that you can't do with just your smartphone. You can mix it up. And number three, the example from $5 dinners, and you see how she was able to use ManyChat to create a bot so that she can grow her email list as well. Why not create a resource that goes directly along with whatever it is you are sharing on your live show, and get people to go from the live show to your email list in a very easy and seamless way? Or why not do a series where it's a 14-day challenge or a 5-day challenge, and you take your audience along on a journey, and at the end of the journey, there's a particular destination that you want them to go to. Or in the example of the body coach, why not do on a daily basis or whatever frequency, whether it's a weekly basis or a daily basis, show your audience how to do something. Take them behind the scenes of what you're doing at your company or on your business. The key is the more you can engage your audience and provide them with value, the more they're going to be engaged with your company online, the more you're going to be top of mind. And that can open so many doors and bring so much exposure to your business, to the point that someone will come all the way from Michigan to Sydney, Australia, and want to come and check out your company. So if you have any questions or tips, I'll leave a few minutes for that right now. Or if you have any comments that you want to share, I see a number of people asking about some Wirecast 8 features, and we're very excited about next week's show where Andrew is going to be telling you more about that. So you can stay tuned for that. There's going to be some great content coming your way. And I think what we're going to do is we are going to go ahead, since I see no questions, and wrap this up. By the way, my name is Leslie Samuel, sitting in today and last week for Andrew. And if you want to reach out to me, you can see my contact information there on the screen, my website at becomeablogger.com, where we're changing the world one blog at a time. You can connect with me on Facebook, on Twitter, or via email. And of course, you can find Telestream Wirecast with these details coming up on the screen right now for you. You can connect with Telestream Wirecast on Facebook. You can connect on Periscope. You can on Twitter, on YouTube. Telestream Wirecast on Facebook, Wirecast on Twitter, and Wirecast Tube on YouTube. And of course, if you want to get the notification, you can go to Telestream. The URL is going to come up there in a second. Telestream.net/Wirecast to get email notifications whenever we are going live or whenever we have valuable information to send to you. And of course, we'd like to thank our partners, because we could not do this without our partners. And you can see all of those partners listed on the screen. Thank you for your support. We would not be able to do this as effectively without you. And I just want to remind you, next week is the week that you want to definitely tune in, because Andrew is going to be back and he will be sharing with you Wirecast 8 and all the new features in the new release. So thanks for joining us today, and have a great rest of the day. Take care, guys.